Hello, hello, hello. So, I'm going to try something a little different this time. I'm actually going to attempt to film earlier in the week so I don't run upon, let's do some little adjusting here, the issue I've had several times, which is trying to upload a little later in the evening and then YouTube having some issues and I can't get it to upload without all sorts of problems. And then what is Friday night drills becomes very early Saturday morning drills, which is fine. I mean, I guess you can watch on Saturday. You can watch any day of the week. That's totally fine. But it defeats the purpose. So here we are a little earlier in the week. And I don't know, maybe we'll get through a few more subjects, but good to visit. We're going to do, I've picked out the color, I've picked out the letters so that hopefully I don't have to try and multitask, because we all know that does not go great. I don't want to have to redo any of the colors as I have the past couple weeks. So we are doing this very pretty pink and our continued pink sunflower. And here we go. So I just got back from spending some time visiting my dad. My dad is in his 90s and he lives with my oldest sister, but when she goes out of town, he stays with my other sister. I'm very fortunate to have both of my sisters living in Utah. We're relatively close. We're within an hour of each other. She's the oldest one is an hour away, and my other sister is 45 minutes away. So pretty convenient. And so with him being a little closer, I thought, oh, I'm going to spend a little bit of time there. Looking forward to catching up with him. Anyway, totally fun. That, of course, spurs things that I was like, ooh, this would be fun to chat about on the next whip. So I made a note and we'll see. We'll see if we get through any of it. May not get through more than one topic, but that's okay. So we've had the switch to daylight saving. I saw some sort of meme that was like a reminder. It is not, hang on, I gotta double check something. Oh, shoot. Well, D's and O's, let me see if there's something else. D and O's look kind of similar. So I may have to pay a little more attention than yeah. You can see, here, let me zoom in. D's and O's look pretty close. You can see where my finger is right here. So I'll have to pay some attention. Anyway, zoom back out there. Won't be quite as easy as I expected, but that's okay. I'll try to stay grounded, pay a little attention. So we were talking about one of the things I do within our church, we call it a ward, is I work with the kids who are between 18 months and 11 years of age. We call it primary. And I had the cutest little 4-year-old today. They take turns doing things like sharing a scripture, giving a talk, or maybe saying a prayer. And last week he had volunteered to give a prayer. This week, and oh, see, just dawned on me that I started with daylight saving and then jumped to, okay, let's go back. Let's go back to daylight saving. Okay. The meme I saw was just a reminder. It is not daylight savings. It is daylight saving. So happy daylight saving time, everybody. We did it. We've made it through the adjustment. We'll see how it goes. I do love not leaving work when it's dark, coming when it's dark, leaving when it's dark, although it is still dark when I get there. It just made it to where it was light when we came in the morning. I turned and looked at my husband because we commute together and said, I knew it. We finally got some sun, and next week it will be gone. So yeah, back to dark in the mornings, but at least it will be light longer than just when we drive home. Okay, now back to the other story. So his parents kind of whispered as we were gathering and said, hey, so and so was supposed to give a prayer today. And he said, I'm not doing it. And I said, oh, I'm sure it will be fine. He probably just said that to you. He'll probably do it. I'm not worried about it. And they said, okay, we just wanted to let you know. And they were hanging out close because we encourage parents to be there and help or watch or whatever. We want to make sure they're included in all of it. And so they were both standing there, and so I went and knelt down in front of this cute little 4-year-old and said, hey, I just wanted to check. You're good to give the prayer, right? And he said, no. He said, no, thank you. Sorry, had to pause. There's something going on in the background. So he said, no, thank you. And I was like, well, we will help you. And he said, no, just totally straight-faced. Like, I'm looking at you, woman. I am telling you no. And I was like, okay. And his teacher said, I'm happy to help. And he again said no. And I was like, okay. I'm pretty sure that is a firm no. And so I went over to his parents and I said, yeah, you are right. He is a firm no on this. And as funny as it was, I also had this moment where I was like, I wish I was as strong as this 4-year-old and could say no with such conviction that he does. So totally got a kick out of that. He ended up after church, his mom, we were all going out to our cars and she stopped me and she said, I just want you to know, he told me afterwards that he said the prayer today. And I said, oh, okay. And apparently he did in his class, which to me is just as awesome and worth celebrating. So we all kind of chuckled and said, good for you, proud of you. He set his boundaries. I put too many on there. And stuck to it, but also followed through in an environment that was more comfortable for him. So shout out to the 4-year-old who has better skills at saying no than I do. So just wanted to celebrate him before we do anything else. So we talked about him today. It was my dad, my sister, and her husband. Had to laugh because my dad lives, as I mentioned, with my other sister, but since my mom has passed, it's just him. He watches TV, he reads a lot. He, I think, has an exercise class that he goes to, which I love. He never did that before, so I totally love that. And with the three of us talking, it was just, I'm stuck. It was a mile a minute, subjects changing like crazy. I asked him before I left, I said, I hope we didn't wear you out with all the subject changes. And he said, well, for sure. That was as much conversation as I have in 3 months that we just did in a couple hours. I said, is that a good thing or bad thing? And he said, well, you know, my other sister has been quite busy, so there hasn't been a lot of conversation. He said, it's a good thing. I'm full up for a few months now, so glad we could do that. But one of the things we talked about was how we were raised. I grew up back east, and I'm a child of the 80s. I graduated in 85. Was born in the 60s, the youngest of 5. And we talked about how different perceptions are now, and community, and AI, and the things that are scary and the things that we are excited about. My company, as I've mentioned, is very on board the AI train. I am more hesitant. I really do see the Terminator. I worry about people who are giving up relationships with actual people in favor of AI companions who will give you absolutely everything that you are looking for and hoping for, but at the cost of humanity. And so we talked about how, I don't want to say progressive, but forward thinking my parents were. We had a computer. It was one of the first Radio Shacks. It was a Tandy something. We had a computer before anyone I knew of, for which I'm very grateful. My brother knew how to program. He could recreate the War Games Shall We Play a Game on our Tandy computer before I didn't even know what programming was. But he stayed up at least 24 hours, maybe even longer than that, to recreate it. It was amazing. So they were very forward thinking. They were also accepting of pretty much everybody. There was no judgment. There was no cliques. There were no I did not even know about the divides for race or gender, religion I knew about because now I'm in what is the dominant religion in my state, but growing up there were not many people who practiced the same religion. So I understood that religious minority. So we talked about how fortunate we were to grow up with parents like that. And it was a really great discussion. My dad talked about when they went to a really small college in, I think it was West Virginia. And how my mom's first fiance, that was fun to talk about, had some attitudes and practices that were not okay. And she said she was always embarrassed by that, the way he treated people. And when she met my dad, she immediately realized that she didn't have to settle for somebody who, oops, shoot, where did it go? I'm sure you all saw it. Hopefully that was it. Anyway, for somebody who felt that way, for which I'm really grateful. And I read another thing this week that talked about accents. And how you don't realize you have a regional accent until you move somewhere else, because the way you sound to yourself is normal. You don't recognize an accent until you are in a different situation. And again, then you don't think you have the accent, it's everybody else. So it's just been interesting to have all sorts of conversations and reminders that we all come from different histories and backgrounds, and how cool it is that we can meld those things together, that we can recognize those who are different, those who made sacrifices, those who were intentional in the things that they did and taught. And so that was really cool. I've actually never had that. I'd had some of the conversations with my mom about it, but I'd never talked to my dad. He was always pretty careful with the things that he shared. I think he had historically some family who didn't share the same points of view as he did. So very cool to talk to him about that. Let's see what else we chatted about. Again, community, and I have been trying. We're heading into travel season now that it's spring and summer. I don't anticipate getting any more snow here. We were fortunate to get a little bit, but it is 60 degrees. I don't think we'll get anything else. Okay, sorry. Had some yelling of chores going on. So community we were talking about, sorry. Oh, travel. So I believe I've mentioned before that on Saturdays I spend some time in our volunteering in our local temple, and in order to accommodate some upcoming travel, I need to find a substitute to cover my shift. That always is, well, it's not the easiest thing, especially for the day and time that we have. But it was fun to talk about upcoming travel and events. I love that. One of the things we're going to be doing is some off-roading in Moab with our vehicle. And I was just excited to be going along for the ride. Apparently, I am also signed up as a driver to be able to learn how to drive in these conditions. I am scared to death. I don't know. I really, as I said, I'm totally comfortable as a passenger, especially if my hubby is going to be trained in how to handle it all. Whew, I don't know how I feel about being able to maneuver it myself. I think the hope, I hate driving in snow. I hate it. I hate it. I think the hope is that I will learn how to do all the things and do it safely so that I don't need to be afraid of driving in snow and other unfavorable conditions. So we have that coming up. I have a cruise that I'm going to be doing in April with my work friend and some other women that I haven't met. And that's one reason I thought, oh, it would be good to learn how to do this early and schedule things. I know people do it all the time. I have not done it. So we will see how that goes. I'm looking forward to that. So I have to get substitutes for those weeks. And then we have some musicals coming up that typically I do them during the week to attend those. But these are scheduled for the weekend, so I have to find a substitute for that. So the day was spent doing that as well, but planning out the summer and spring is totally exciting. We get to see Hadestown coming up. Cannot wait. Oh my gosh. So excited for that. It's one of my favorite musicals. Also, we'll be seeing Hunchback of Notre Dame. That is one that my kids have wanted to see. Every time we have tried to go see it, something has gone wrong. So that was a very last minute purchase of tickets. And so we're going to hopefully see that. I probably just jinxed myself. I'm going to knock on the table here so that we can do that. And then we also have, what was the other? Oh, Joseph and the Dreamcoat. That will be later in the year for sure. And then Phantom of the Opera as well is coming up. So a lot of shows. Fortunately, I didn't have to get subs for all of those, just some of those. And then we have some concerts in the fall that we'll be going to as well. In one weekend in Vegas, I will be seeing Foo Fighters and Barry Manilow, all on the same weekend. Could not have more opposite concerts. Really excited about that. Barry Manilow was a musician my mom loved. I wish she could have gone to one of his shows. I know she got to see Johnny Mathis, another of her faves, but because we will be staying at the hotel where he has a residency, I thought it would just be easy peasy, go see him in concert. I was worried because of his recent health diagnoses that perhaps those shows would be canceled. I did see a note saying that his February shows are, I'm gonna just say postponed because he isn't recovering as quickly as he expected. But since our shows are later in the year, fingers crossed that there won't be any problems. So yeah, I'm just getting that calendar chock full. What else? So had an opportunity with the cute grandbaby who continues to grow so quickly. So that's always wonderful. Hard to believe that we are almost like mid-March. All the activities are just coming and going so quick. you know, here it is, Pie Day. I thought we would kind of get out of that because it's on a Saturday, but who can turn down a holiday where you eat pie? So we decided, I put out a little campaign saying that I'm not good at math. Happy Pie 3.13, and just flag it as so I was never good at math. So we'll do that Friday, which means when this goes up, it will be today, and hopefully it all went really well. Again, it's pie, not too much that can go wrong. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. I should be knocking on the table again, because yes, things can go wrong in really weird ways. But yeah, that coming up, a couple birthdays in the family, just lots going on, and more daylight hours to enjoy it in. I do think as we get more sunlight, that means summer is a coming. I never have been a hot weather fan, so yeah, I'm not quite emotionally prepared for that, but I do like a tan. That is one thing I'm looking forward to on this cruise. The last one, I've only been on one other cruise, and it was again with this same friend, and we went with her mom because it was on her bucket list. She's in her mid-80s. She had always wanted to go on a cruise, so we did just I think it was like a 5-day cruise, and got to swim with the dolphins, and I would be completely content just sitting on the boat by the pool, getting a tan. I do think that's what's gonna happen more on this one. I'm totally fine with it. I know that there's one day where I think we're gonna do a zip line. We're gonna plan all that this week. So yeah, I don't love heat and humidity. Growing up back east, that was one of the things when people say, what do you miss? I miss the green. Oop, wait, I gotta scoot this. Let's see, is that a D? Well, it's gonna be. I miss the green. I don't miss the humidity at all. At all. See, I don't know if that was a D. I think that is. Well, it is what it is. But, oh, there we go. There's one there. So, looking forward to that. Get my tan. I didn't get to go out and get a tan at all last year. Because as I mentioned, we're in the temple during prime tanning hours, which is probably terrible for me, probably saved my skin by not doing that. I am very mindful of that as well. But yeah, so many changes, so many things going on. I think, let's see, I'm probably got a few more. Yeah, there's a couple more there. But you know what? This timed out pretty close to perfect. Let me just do, there's a couple more. But I gotta say, now I can get this whole thing ready. It's kind of nice to not be panicked about getting it uploaded in time. It really was awful last week. I sat and watched as YouTube would count down how many minutes it needed for processing. Oh, and the other problem I had was I have a MacBook, and it really doesn't have much space on it at all. Can't complain too much because it was an incredible gift. And so I had to offload a bunch of stuff from my hard drive. Oh, I cannot get this to the Google Drive, and that took a couple hours, so kind of messed up my uploading. But now that I'm not doing this on a late Friday night, hoping to beat a deadline, I think we're going to be able to see this on Friday night, and you too can enjoy Friday night drills. I hope you had a wonderful week. It was so good to be able to jump in and visit with you again right away. Things I didn't forget about before it was time. I hope you look forward to these as much as I do. I hope this provides a sense of peace and community and a way to get away from FOMO and all the pressures we face every day. I look forward to having you here each week, and until next week, see you then.